Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I have another interesting video here. This is also to promote the repair of the clusters on the 1997 to 1999 and so BW EuroVan. Those are very common for the actual gauges to become bad, and their motors sometimes is hard to get. The cluster is no longer available, so I went ahead and bought a whole bulk of stepper motors and components that I was able to test in some of the other instrument clusters that I've been repairing, and then order a bulk, and now I have plenty of parts for that. All right, so but just to give you like I said, the cluster is already repaired. So I'm going just to take you over to the pictures of this is going to be again just a short video. I'm right now through this using my simulator so I can inject all the signals. Right now I'm actually checking the speedometer, and how I know that, again, I always do all my homework before I go into any repair. I'm going to keep that on the screen so you guys can have that too. But yeah, powers, grounds, and the main signals that I need to check. I always tell this to the customers, and for whoever is watching the video, I need the specifics. It's very hard to check 100% on any board instrument cluster, especially 97, 99 or so. Not so bad. It still is electronics, and we have a lot of stuff that needs to be checked in order to fully test a board. And an engine computer is pretty much impossible to give 100% as a vehicle, even on the cars. I mean, why we technicians have got so many problems on the vehicles, because even the computers, even the software and the diagnostics are not 100% for you to test. So need to use, oscilloscopes and different tests to actually pinpoint. Because if you go over to the repair information, it's just not possible. So yes, we need to have a full code, because with no full codes, with no direction, it takes days to actually find something like that. So again, if you have a problem in your computer, a problem with your instrument cluster, I need to know exactly what is the problem. If you guys can take pictures of, like, yeah, the gauges are erratic, they're not moving at all, none of the lights are working, or some of the lights are working, some of the gauges, sorry, some of um, the screens are not working, then I check the specifics. Obviously, I will turn it on and do a full test at the end. But again, to go in to check every single path is very time consuming. So to keep the cost down, I need to have specifics. And I think every single repair facility will tell you the same thing. Okay, going back into the repair, this is main components, or sorry, main wiring that I did. This is the connector. This has two connectors on the back. Let me turn this off 1 second so we can see that, and I don't have power. Actually, let's go over the pictures. I will put the pictures, so don't worry about the difference on the screen, because sometimes when the phone gets into the screen, the frequency is not the same, so it gives a very different um, or something like a lines in the screen or so. But I will be putting this high quality pictures in there so you guys can see that too. Um, let me, so we have two connectors. One is a black one, and the other one is a red one. Only the black one is the one you need. In the red one, sorry, you have the check engine light on lamp. So that's the only wire you will be using. And again, everything is on the other diagram or pinout that I just show you. This is pretty much the same thing. So let me close and start over. I find also in Identifix, again, everything is OEM, good test to do. The cluster, I always like to save this all information that before the manufacturers, especially in 1999 era or so, 90s era, they were more of sharing to the techs and putting this information out there. I think that now that they open up the information for everybody, they're giving us less and less every time. As you can see, it was, telling you where the LED positive and negative were, because these all clusters, they still use LEDs for that, so they tell you which one is a positive and negative, which, I mean, it's not really that hard to figure out, but it's nice to have that information as well. So again, this is You can see even an LED, and they tell you also which is the cathode and which is the anode on the LEDs and so on. Different little things in here, voltage regulator. Um, there is some more information that I have found. Let me see. This is just the color wire diagrams, which I didn't really use much. This is for the new instrument cluster. This also has, especially in 1999, you can have this cluster with the two connectors like this, or the one with the three connectors, which is also now the newest type. It's a CAN bus network cluster, so that can be, and instead to me using all these wires, I will be able to use and a scanner and then do all the activations and sweep tests. So it's a lot faster. All right, so let me just make sure I'm not. This is the original information that uh, Volkswagen gave. This is the track style diagram. For those that are not familiar, those you need to follow is the line in here is going to tell you this is 2 is going to 9 on 216, so you have to follow that track. Oh, sorry, I'm sorry, that's actually not true. This is that line in here. So all this is a connection. Most likely that will be ground. And then in here, let's say like this wire right here, it says that this pin 3 goes to 108. And then if you want to know what 108 is, it's just a line. Like you see 1 through 14. So you will have to scroll all the way down. And it will tell you in page where this pin 108 or line, sorry, track 108 is, that is coming from 3. So if we go there, just to give you, hopefully this has a 108. Because sometimes, yeah, we're at 108. So 108 will be, you see it's right here. So 12, if we go back, uh, actually, let me see 1 second. Was it 108 or 118? No, 118. Yes, 118. So this is right here, pin 3. So that's the one that we were looking at. A little different because this is line 119. 120, but this is just so it's here because you see it says goes to 3 is a white, sorry, a black cable. I think, yeah, I'm sorry, it's actually a white. Yeah, WS, those are in German. So sorry if I said it wrong, but you see it's because black is SW and white is WSO. So if we go back, so that's a white cable, go back to 3 where we were, and that should be, oh yes, it was actually 120. Which one I was looking at? Oh, yes, it was 108. So yeah, so 108, that's when I missed the line, but we saw that in here. So coming from 118, or sorry, 120, it was correct. 120 is a white cable, and that's the way the tracks are. Sorry, it's sidetrack a little bit on that. Um, so again, we have the pinouts, and this is just a picture. I open Paint 3D and I put all those lines so I can difference which ones are powers and ground and so on. I also found some of the internals on this all cluster. They tell you that number 4 is a harness connector. There's some other things that I saw here interesting. Um, it talks about, voltage regulators and stuff like that inside the board, but, just I'm trying to give you a brief description of this. With this cluster, you got to be careful. I always take pictures of the before, so the scratches and broken tabs or anything is not like my fault. It's there. I use gloves and I clean the clusters. As you guys can see, really good. It has a scratch in here that I couldn't remove, but the cluster is no scratches or nothing internally. So you always take a picture of that. I always take a picture of the back. 1 second, because I think his information is about to come in here. Yeah, the big numbers in here. Okay, so now I can come back. I'm sorry about that. Yeah, like I said, this is the back of the cluster. Always replace these bulbs. I have everything in stock, so all the bulbs are replace. I check the LEDs if they need to be replaced, and I replace it. But they're, in this case, they're all operational, so no problem. And this is the way the cluster came at first. As you can see, all the gauges were stuck into a place it shouldn't be, and that's exactly what he was saying. So erratic readings and so on. That's the most common things on these instrument clusters. This is as I remove the needles and then get access to the stepper motors. That's just you need to remove two let me see, two T10s. All the bolts in the cluster there, four bolts is two to hold the plastics together right here, two T10s, and then two inside that you need to remove. That's it. And then it's just plastic clips that you need to open. Pretty easy to see if you're careful. I have working many of these ones that come already separated and broken because the person didn't took care or carefulness to do the repair, and they're all broken up. Uh, I'm always really careful to try to keep the repair as clean and as good as possible. Sometimes if it's brittle and it breaks, there's nothing you can do, but I always be really careful. So that's yeah, with all this is the back of the instrument cluster for those who wants to see it. We have a little sign of like moisture or water, but I clean everything really good before assembling as usual. That's just, now with all the stepper motors removed and the new stepper motors in there, I always mark it just in case so I can know which one was the one that was the worst. I take a extra test when I'm or extra yeah extra test to that because let's say on this one 3 and 4 I name or number it 1, 2, 3, 4. 3 and 4 were the worst as far as grabbing. I want to make sure that I'm going to work on that test and make sure that it's nothing else in the board that is making that uh, problem. But I doubt it. It's pretty common for these to be just the stepper motors, as long as it's no problems internally and damage pads or so. And that's not the case. As you can see, that's actually after I replaced the stepper motor. That's what we got this sign in here of the, the chemical that I use to remove all the how you call that? It's a little early. All the flux, and then no flux is left over on the board. Again, this is just to show you. This is I turn off. That self starts in here, and the reason that was in there is because I forgot to turn the actual simulator on, and the signal that I am given to the cluster. Let me go a little higher. You can see it has a nudge, and that's why it's doing that jump in there. But yeah, I can change the speed, no problems at all, and that will change the miles. So that's what I don't want to go too much because this one, as you can see, is now reading and it's reading good. So I went to 3, 4. So yeah, we don't want to go too crazy into that. And now, as you can see, since I turned that signal off, it went perfectly to 0, and that's what you're looking for. So I'm going to check all the rest, and everything is good. Again, just a short video to show you what we do here. Again, Mike Salazar Diagnostics, Mike Salazar. We're here to help you with any repairs on engine computers and instrument clusters. You will be in good hands. Talk to you later. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that button, and share my videos. That will really help me in the channel. If you guys help me promote me and get more views, more subscribers, that also creates a little income back to me and the channel. I'm trying to help as much as people around the world as possible. Sometimes they cannot send the repair, and I try to help them out. So I will just ask in return if you guys can subscribe and share my videos like that. More people will subscribe. That will help me a lot. Again, thank you so much. I will see you next time. Bye bye.